really think about what you expect to happen in your business or with money. Do you expect good things to happen? Or are you one of those people that end up being like, I want good things to happen, but when really push comes to shove, I don't expect it to happen, or I expect it to happen and then something bad happen. And I want you to really notice what your pattern is with this. If, like I said, if you're really used to those things happening, it's going to be super common for you to be like, I don't expect this to happen. So with your money goal, I want you to really check in right now. On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do I expect it to happen, that I can get it, that I can do it, right? Or whatever goal that you have, or whatever thing that you want, right? If you do not expect it to happen from your body, that is something you need to clock. You need to be aware of. You need to really be mindful of this, because expectation combined with attachment or non-attachment, that's what the second part of this is literally next level manifestation. Okay. If you can master this, you are going to manifest crazy things in your life and business. So the tricky part of this is there's a duality here. It's a skill to be honed. What do I expect to happen, but do I expect it to happen without being attached to the outcome? I want you to really think about this for a second. What do I expect to happen without being attached to the outcome? So if I'm thinking about a goal, right? And you guys know I just always use like consistent 10K months. I don't know why that's my default, but that's what I use for my goals when I'm talking to you guys. It's not my goal, but you know what I mean, as an example. So consistent 10K months from my body, how much do I expect that to happen? If the expectation is low, I want you to ask yourself two things. The first thing is this a strategy issue? Is it like, well, I need to work out my strategy. I need to XYZ on the back end of my business. So this has also been coming up a lot with my clients. And it's not a strategy thing. It was more like cleaning up the back end. Like, for example, one of my private clients just said, because I'm so excited. I'm so excited to write content about this because she just went from like inconsistent, like 3-ish K months, even had, I think like a less than $100 a month to now having over an 8K month. And she's just like, I think it's probably over 8K at this point. And we haven't even been working together that long. So I just, again, once, oh, okay, no worries, no worries at all. It'll be in the, if you go into Heartbeat, there's a tab on the left called Aligned as Fuck replays. And you can click on that and you'll see this as the replay there. No, it's okay. Don't worry about it. Thank you for letting me know. So, yeah, and so when I asked her, I said, because her goal is quite higher than 8K, but we're still celebrating so much because she went from basically having inconsistent income to two of her highest income back to back. And this had nothing to, again, to do with her strategy. This is all done doing the work that we do in this container. But the reason I say this is I want you guys to know that just because this work will take you to the next level doesn't mean there might not be a tweak in your strategy. So what I will say is that her strategy is pretty much the same, but there have been tweaks. We've tweaked a new offer. We've created a new offer from Alignment. We've tweaked price points. We've tweaked how many people she wants one-to-one. I think a lot of us end up, saying, I want XYZ in this program, or I want XYZ one-to-one, but we don't have the capacity for it. So I think that's another thing of really figuring out how we can reach more people that works with our capacity and how we like to, show up and give value or show up and make money, right? So, with all of that being said, what came out from Alignment was that this is so crazy. All that she needed was a more streamlined process to organize all of her clients. Like, really think about something so simple as that. And I gave her a recommendation for a program. If you guys have a lot of clients that you need to kind of, I don't know if either one of you really deal with this, but if anybody else is watching or in the future you have this, where you have a lot of clients that you need to like really keep separate, Dipsado is great for that. It allows you to do your contracts, your payments, your invoicing. Guys, I don't know. I keep turning this off on my Zoom. I don't know why this keeps happening. I'm so sorry, but if you see balloons flying, that's what's happening. Anyways, I turned it off like a million times and it keeps coming back. Anyways, and it just allows you to do everything that she needed, right? Even a client portal. And it's not that expensive. But what was crazy is in her mind, she was letting something that costs like $40 a month block her from 5-figure months. Really think about that. because our brains are tricky that way. They will tell us things are more overwhelming, more insane, more crazy than they actually are, right? So I want you guys to think back to a time when you had something that you kept putting off, putting off, putting off. Holly, I know this for you because me and you have had this conversation. I'm also like this. And then you finally do it. And then it took like 5 minutes. You're like, why? Why did that take me so long? Like, right? You guys know what I'm talking about because our brains are sneaky. Our brains will tell us that little things are the problem. And it's so fixable, right? So, again, I think that when we're either A, used to things being hard, and or B, our experience says, well, I things have to be hard. So it can be just that's my belief, but it can also be your experience. Many of us have experienced like, well, working hard is what creates more money. And you guys know that I don't believe that. I don't subscribe to that at all. I actually believe that the less, I don't want to say the less we work because that's not it, but the less effort, right? The less effort that we put into working actually yields more results. And my results and my clients' results reflect that, right? And it's all about finding your optimal way, your most efficient way. But we have to be really clear on our alignment if we want to move forward with that, because there's technically three ways to manifest, right? You can manifest with hustle. I know a lot of people that have built multiple 6-figure, 7-figure businesses with hustling. And if that's what you want to do, you can do that. You can choose to do that, right? The second way is going to be like the traditional manifestation. Like I'm going to sit back and do the internal work and do nothing, which that also works. But again, it's not sustainable or predictable enough. So I like to go with the third, which is kind of a mix, right? It's we take action, but we take action from expecting it to happen, but we are not attached to the outcome, right? And you guys know if you're in my world, manifestation with neuroscience is a lot more complex than that. But if for this training, I'm gonna talk about it in this respect. So I really want you guys to think about where am I on the scale of really honing the skill? How much do I expect what I want to happen? But the other half is if it doesn't happen, is it going to sideline me? Am I going to let it take me out of the game? Because what happens is sometimes you will, if you're have a fear of disappointment, like I'm going to set this big goal and it's not going to happen and then I'm going to feel bad, your brain will flag that as not safe for you to experience. It's trying to protect you from feeling disappointed. It's trying to protect you from experiencing those negative emotions, because the truth is underneath disappointment is usually like fear of not being good enough, fear of abandonment. Like there's deeper things to that. It's very rarely has anything to do with, I don't want to say it's surface. It's not surface, but I think you guys understand these kind of baseline things that a lot of people deal with. Disappointment, a fear of disappointment is very common. What makes it different, like the reason that everybody deals with it is because it's not the root. If you really go down to the root, there's going to be something behind the disappointment, underneath it. And that's why this work is so powerful, because I'm dealing with the super unconscious, the thing underneath the thing that's underneath the thing. That's why my clients get the results they get, right? So really feel into it. How much do I expect it to happen? If that number is low, again, I want you to ask yourself two things. Is it a strategy thing? And when I say strategy, it could be strategy, but what I mean is like back end stuff. Like, do I need to optimize, my booking process? Or for me, it was Heartbeat, getting everything moved over to Heartbeat, getting you guys on board with Heartbeat, because I knew that if I didn't get Heartbeat taken care of, and a lot of people were messaging me about issues with Heartbeat, it would overwhelm me. And I have to be very mindful of feeling overwhelmed. If I'm too overwhelmed, I'll just go into freeze mode. I know that about myself. So it's like, okay, what is it that I need to make this very easy to move forward? For me, it was Heartbeat. For her, it was Dipsado. What is it for you guys? The other question I would ask if your expectation number is low is there a fear here, right? Do I fear what's on the other side of getting what I want? And that could be a fear of the money and success, but it also could be a fear of, I don't want to feel the sensations of disappointment, because really that's poking at this deep wound I have around not feeling good enough. Really think about that, right? Our brains and bodies keep us from doing things because it's protecting us. And I want to give you an example really quick. I was on a private call with somebody yesterday, private coaching client, and we were talking about something. And guys, I'm constantly tracking your body language when we're on a call together. That's a part of my work, right? Because you can tell me something, and if your body language isn't matching it, I know there's something deeper, right? So I'm tracking your body language and I'm poking around on purpose, like because I knew there was something here. I'm like poking around, and she's telling me it's all good, but I'm watching her body language, and I'm like, so I start poking around at it, and immediately I just noticed this shift in her energy. It's like, whew, and her eyes even kind of glazed over. And this happens a lot. I want the two of you to really think about a time when you were getting close to get, like you were in the flow, you were doing your work, you were close to like getting it, and then something happened, like your brain shut down, like you couldn't make like connections in your brain, and you started feeling tired and brain foggy. How many of you have experienced that? Yes, we have um like hormonal or chemical reasons, chemical imbalance reasons that we would have brain fog. But brain fog also shows up when it's trying to protect us from accessing information that our brain perceives as, hey, that's really deep, dark shit. Don't touch that. Hey, that thing about you not feeling good enough, don't even go there. So literally, her brain was literally keeping her from even hearing what I had to say. She couldn't even hear it. So what I did is I had her do bilateral stimulation. If you guys don't know this, I've done a training over it. But basically, this is your midline, and you have your hands and you're doing this across the midline. You have to make sure your hand crosses the midline, right? And you kind of do this swingy motion. I know you guys can't really see me very well, but this like kind of swingy motion, right? And if you're in public, you can have a bottle of water, whatever. This works really well if you are feeling anxious, if you are overwhelmed, if you have brain fog, if you have panic, anything like that, because all of those things are happening in one side of your brain. Now, what I will say is that it probably wouldn't work if it is a chemical imbalance. Like there's times around like my menstrual cycle where I have brain fog, and that's a chemical hormonal thing, and it's not a brain thing. Does that make sense? So that wouldn't work for that, but you'll kind of know. Like you'll be like, oh, like I was in a conversation with somebody about going to the next level in my business or with money, and then all of a sudden you get brain fog, or you get tired, or you get overwhelmed. That is a defense mechanism from your brain. Okay. So, what we do with bilateral stimulation is we're actually activating both sides of your brain. So, your brain cannot loop into the anxiety and panic and whatever on just one side, because that's one side of your brain neural circuitry issue. So what we're doing is we're activating both sides of your brain. And guys, you can literally try this right now. You can think about something that will make you so anxious. Like I'm thinking about something right now that normally makes me really anxious, and I can't be anxious while I'm doing this. It's impossible. So you know what I did? I had her do this the whole second half of our session, the whole time, so I could coach her while she was doing this, so she could actually comprehend what I was saying. Like think about how crazy this is. Think about how crazy it is for you to be like, my brain is literally keeping me from accessing this information or properly absorbing it or using that information to go to the next level. That's how powerful our brain is if our brain perceives what we want as a threat or not safe. Really think about that. And so at the end, because she was able to hear everything that I had to say, and she was able to really be like, okay, I see what you're saying. We were able to put together a plan from that. And I want to context you around how big this is, because the last two sessions that we had, she couldn't even get like, her brain was keeping her from even saying what she wanted, what her desire was, what she wanted to manifest, what she wanted to create. Her brain was literally blocking her. And it took us until that session for me to do this with her, for her to even be like, oh, it's this that I want. This is how I get it. This is the aligned way that I'm going to take action and take steps to get it. This is why this work is so important, right? If you have a fear, or if you have a misunderstanding, something like I need to clean up Heartbeat or Dubsado or whatever, that by getting what you want is going to create more problems. For me, it was okay, if I don't get Heartbeat set like sorted, I'm going to have a lot of work to do, and I don't want to do a lot of work. Do you see how that was blocking me? So that's the first part. So then you've got expectation on lock at that point. You've cleared the misunderstanding, you've cleared whatever fear. Then you move on to, well, how much do I need this to happen? How much do I like, am I attached to it? Because if you've ever dealt with any sort of like fear of disappointment or fear of rejection or fear of abandonment, if you've ever dealt with anything like that, sorry, yeah. If you've ever dealt with anything like that, there's probably going to be this party that's very attached to the outcome. This has to happen because if it doesn't, I'm not good enough. If it doesn't, I'm going to feel all these bad emotions and sensations and I'm going to loop in anxiety. And I know consciously that you might not be thinking these things. This is happening unconsciously, normally. Not for everybody. For those of you that are been in my world a long time or hyper aware, you might be aware of this thought feeling cycle. But if you need something to happen, I want you to really think about how that's blocking you from receiving it. So a good example of this is if you place your order with Amazon, do you expect it to come? Well, yeah, I don't even think twice about it. There's never a thought in my mind of, well, it might not get here in time, unless it's from like, unless it's not Prime and it's from a seller that maybe might take longer. You know what I mean? But if it's Amazon Prime, it's pretty business as usual. It's going to be here in this amount of time, maybe one day late. But I never ever think of it's never coming. Never. Right. So it's like, okay, I placed the order, I expect it to happen. But then the second part of this is, well, what if it doesn't come? What do I do? How much do I need this to get here in this amount of time? So for me, what that looks like, and this is actually a really good example for me because I live out of the country, right? So I can order things from Amazon, but it's a process to get it here. It's actually quite quick. I can get things in a week normally, but it is a process. So what I have to do is say, okay, do I trust myself to navigate it if it doesn't get here in time? Do I trust myself to navigate it if it comes broken or if I need to return it? Like, and I'm dealing with this right now. I bought something very, very expensive, and it's not working, and I'm going to have to navigate getting it back. And it's been the biggest pain in the ass because I'm like, oh, like I don't want to deal with getting this back to Amazon because while I can get things through my courier service here, it's really difficult to get them back to the States. So, what did I do? Did I trust myself to navigate it? Did I trust myself to deal with it if things went wrong? So, what did I did? I talked to some friends. They said, "Hey, we've got people coming in the country. Have them send you an Amazon like prepaid return label. We'll give it to the friends. You can buy them a beer, whatever, and they'll just drop it in the mail when they get back." I trusted myself to navigate it if it didn't come, if something was wrong and I needed to return it. So I really want you guys to think about this. How attached are you to needing it to just go perfectly and it needing it to happen and seeing how clearly, because the truth is there was a part of me because it was an expensive item. It was something that I was like, oh, this doesn't work or something happens. There was a part of me that thought, I'm going to have to deal with returning this and that's going to be a pain in the ass. And you know what resulted from that? Me not buying the thing that I really needed. I really needed this. This was something that was for my business. I really needed it. And do you see how that was blocking me from actually just getting the thing that I needed to actually make money? The irony, right? So did I need it to happen? Was I really attached to it? When the truth was is that I could have bought something locally. I could have friends bring it to me when they come visit. Like I trusted myself to handle it if things didn't go right and therefore didn't need it to work out exactly the way I thought it was going to. I want you guys to really think about yourself. Think about this for a second. How many of you really, 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 really wanted something? Like, really was like, this has to happen. I need this to happen. And it didn't happen, but something better worked out. This happens to me all the time. And this is a skill that I'm still learning how to hone in on is how do I let the flow happen? I can have my intention behind it, but I can't get too caught up in the how. Like I love to write down, like, I want this many clients in this and this many clients in this. And sometimes it works out that way, but sometimes it doesn't, but the money is still the same. Does it really matter which way I get it? As long as my capacity is okay, as long as I'm not overwhelming myself. And like I was just talking to somebody earlier and they were telling me a story. It's funny, it's headphones. We were talking about my headphones. My headphones haven't been working and so I'm gonna have to return them. And AirPods are not cheap. Especially having them shipped overseas. But anyways, so I was just having this conversation earlier today with somebody and he had the same thing. He said that he had some Bose like noise canceling headphones. Something happened when he was on a job and long story short, he ended up getting a new better pair because of something that happened. So he could have been like, oh, I lost these headphones, like this sucks, I hate this. But really in the long run, he ended up actually getting a brand new pair that was like way like level up way better. And it's up to us to be like, do I know with 100% certainty that I'm not getting what I want? I want you really to ask yourself the question of, if things go wrong or they don't go the way that we think they should be going, do I know for sure that I'm still not going to get what I want? Really think about that for a second. Am I still not going to get what I want? Because the answer is no. You don't actually know for sure that you're not actually getting exactly what you want and or need. And I think this has been one of the biggest things that I've seen with my clients lately is a lot of them having this story of I don't get what I want or I don't consistently get what I want. And the truth is that whatever your current reality is exactly what a part of you wants. Maybe not the dominant part of you, but a part of you that's dominant enough to create that dynamic. So there is a part of you that is getting what you want. Like stop telling yourself that I never get what I want. Things don't go my way. Things have to be hard. I can't expect good things to happen because I'm used to bad things happening. Like, really get clear on this. Your current reality is reflecting to you a part of you that's getting exactly what you want. And the next level of you creating your reality and creating the money and success you desire with ease and flow is taking responsibility for that so you can reframe that belief of, I am getting exactly what I want. So now it's my job to figure out what part of me doesn't actually want this or want, like there's two things. There's the party that doesn't want it, so that's going to be probably fear, like I fear XYZ will happen. Then there's a part of you that actually really loves the struggle, right? Like you, like guys, I've been talking about this a lot. I've even dropped books and stuff in the group about readings over this, but there is a part of us that really loves the bad things. So I would say that there's kind of like two phases that I see in this type of work. Most people really lean hard into like loving yourself, loving all parts of you. And yes, I agree with that. We have to have unconditional love for all parts of ourselves. But the next level really happens when you allow yourself to be okay with the fact that a part of you likes the drama, a part of you likes the struggle, a part of you likes the bad thing, right? For me, I think a big part of it, you guys know my story, like I have trauma with money. So there's that. But I also, and like, if I'm struggling with money, then I have something to complain to my mom about. Me and my mom had this really codependent dynamic where our relationship is very heavily based on like complaining and like it's not a very, I don't want to say it's unhealthy, but it's just our dynamic. It has been since I was young. She love her heart. She's just very sometimes bad. She's very surface, right? Like she can't go deep. She doesn't understand emotions and anything like that. So that's our relationship. So the only time I feel like I have very like unconditional connection with her is this like complaining bubble, which has been very difficult for me to handle because I'm not a big complainer. But I find that when I have a reason to complain, I've got something to kind of like bitch about to her, I feel connected to her because I don't have that connection to her otherwise. And so I know, right? And so there's this part of me, it's like, ooh, I really like I like struggling. I like that I beat myself up. I like procrastinating because it gives me energy to get the thing done. I like it because I can connect with my mom. This is the next level version. If you've done a lot of work on yourself around like loving yourself and all the things, and you're ready for the next level is being okay with the part of you that's actually okay with the struggle, okay with the drama, whatever. I'm sure that all of you, maybe not, but I feel like most women have experienced the dynamic where they were in a relationship and they actually liked the drama in their relationship, right? Like, I'm really bad about this. I like poke around, just like create drama where there doesn't even need to be drama because guess what feels natural and normal to me? Drama and chaos. That's what I experienced growing up. So that's me unconsciously seeking out what feels natural and normal. So my loving, loving question to you is, do I expect what I want to happen? Do like what I want, does it feel natural and normal? And then can I expect it to happen? Can I work on it feeling natural and normal without being attached to the outcome? That is my like what I'm leaving you with to ponder, to get support on, to figure out how do I navigate this. And you can use tapping for this. You can ask yourself those three questions, right? Like on a scale from 1 to 10, how much do I expect it to happen? On a scale from 1 to 10, how much do I expect it to be normal and natural? If they're low, tap on it, get it high. Then how much do I need it to happen? How much am I, what's the word I'm looking for? Like, how much am I attached to it? Then tap on releasing the need for it to happen. Does this make sense? It really can just be that simple. Because then when we do that, we're telling our brain and body, hey, I'm no longer defaulting to this old way where I expect bad things to happen, or I expect it to happen, but then I expect it to go to shit. I'm no longer defaulting to that. I'm defaulting to I expect things to happen, and I'm neutral if it doesn't happen because I know it's coming in another way, right? So if Amazon didn't give me my order, they'll send me a new one. It's coming either way. I don't have to get caught up in it not happening the way that I thought it was going to happen. Does that make sense? Drop in the chat really quick. Let me know you guys are with me before I get off the call. But I hope This was really helpful. And if you guys have questions and you need more support, I'm there in Heartbeat. So feel free to message, like, or not message, but drop it in the discussions chat anytime. I'm in there throughout the week to support you guys. Good. Yeah, that's definitely something I'm having to trust right now, for sure, right? Because not all of my open to me. Oh, right. Yeah, yeah. So I love that this is coming up for you. Really sit with that. Think about this, ponder on it, see how it feels in your brain and body, and trust that if you can get your brain and body into alignment with this, that it will work out. And let us know how it goes, right? And actually, Holly, I'm going to message you about the membership because I think your time is coming to an end. So I'll message you about that. But if you guys need support, if you need anything, I'm in Heartbeat. Thank you guys so much showing up for live. And if you guys can make it for Money Magic, I will see you on Thursday. And if not, no worries at all. Much love to you guys. I know. I was like, what? I've been wondering. I was like, why hasn't Heather used her session with me yet? Right. So yeah. Hopefully I see you soon, Heather. All right, guys. Take care. Bye.